Hello everyone, I'm Papa Kenn and welcome to a brand new episode of Discovering Doctor Who. Today is episode 51 and I'm going to be talking about the two-parter episodes, The Time of Angels and Flesh and Stone. Yes, the return of some of the creepiest villains that this show has yet to offer, at least in my opinion, the Weeping Angels. And let's get right into it, starting with my favorite parts of these two episodes. Starting with the image. I guess it would be more accurate to say the video, that 4-second video clip that keeps repeating over and over again. And then all of a sudden, the angel's head turns around when Amy is all alone. And then it turns completely. It starts getting closer and closer until it's actually outside of the image. And oh my god, that scene was just absolutely amazing. I was on the edge of my seat that entire time. I was just like, there's no way they're gonna like get rid of Amy that quickly, are they? Or maybe it would be something where the Doctor would have to go back in time and find her or something. I don't know. It was just, I mean, I was, like I said, I was on the edge of my seat. So yeah, the image/video, just excellent scene. Moving on from there, my second favorite part of this two-parter is the angels themselves. And basically the entire range of them as this entire episode goes along. We have the angel that was on the ship that crashed, that was also part of that video, which we later came to know as Angel Bob, after it killed a few people and then took their consciousness or something like that. I'm going to comment on that a little bit more later. But oh, and the statues, all of the decomposing statues that just all of a sudden we find out they're angels. Now, even though they were admittedly slower, they were like the just regular walking zombies, whereas the Weeping Angels we've seen before are more of the running zombies, the ones you really want to fear. But nonetheless, just the number of them was just incredibly intimidating, incredibly horrifying. Again, it's just like the angels were just a great part of this two-parter episodes. And my third favorite part of these two was Dr. River Song. Now, first of all, is she Dr. River Song in name only? Like, is that just a title she has, or is it because she's, I guess, married to the Doctor, she kind of took on his name? I don't know, that was just, that's really interesting point that I really want to know, but I'm assuming it will be explained at some point, it's in some form. But yeah, just her returning to the show, she's just so much fun to watch. Such a great presence, and one of the commenters on the previous episode actually mentioned that River Song is sort of a Jack Harkness-like character, and I can definitely see that. I can definitely see some of that personality coming out, which personally I have no issue with. It seemed more of an expansion on River Song's character, and I'm interested to find out what exactly is going on with the whole she killed a really good man, the best man she ever knew, which from what she said before it seems to be the Doctor. So she killed the Doctor, or I don't know. I am incredibly confused by that. But it just adds a little bit more of the mystery that is probably one of those things that won't be explained for seasons and seasons, but I'm nonetheless intrigued. But anyway, moving on, the fourth best part about this episode, or these two episodes, the cliffhanger. Now, I will admit, when I did catch a small glimpse at the end of the first episode, I think it was, but basically at the end where we see like this long trailer of little happenings going on throughout this season, and it ends with the Doctor holding up a gun. And, I mean, we saw where the Doctor was holding a gun at the end of Tennant's run, And that was a very symbolic gesture, you know, because he's the man that never would. He was the man that would never shoot a gun. And then all of a sudden I see the Doctor in this image holding the gun and just shooting, and I was just kind of like, huh, that's different. But the way it actually came about and it was revealed was that he was actually using the gun to set off the glow. Well, basically it ended up resulting in them switching gravity or whatever and actually getting up onto the ship. I have no idea how to explain that properly, to be completely honest, but just the way it was done, I really liked it. I thought it was well done, and I really just enjoyed that scene, both the cliffhanger and its resolution. Now moving on, the next best part about this two-parter would be the soldiers, to be quite honest. Now I will say this. Following with a pattern I'm definitely noticing, this episode, the soldiers were definitely one-off characters that really don't seem to serve much of a purpose overall. But I feel like the characters felt evolved enough. Even the ones that were really only on screen for a short amount of time, we got to know more about their personality, just from the few scenes, is like, you know, that whether they were skittish or how they reacted with one another. We got to see just the simple little interactions with them, and given, I guess you could say, they were essentially plot devices, unnecessary ones possibly. But at the same time, just I feel like I'm repeating myself, but just the way that the personalities came off, and just the simple way that the characters were written, again, whether they were on screen for a short amount of time or longer, I thought it was pretty well done. So, and especially when it built up to the point where the Crach In Time appeared, and all of a sudden the soldiers started forgetting, like that one, especially that one main soldier who he forgot who the first two were because they apparently never existed, and then the one guy that left, like, he forgot he existed, and then eventually that guy didn't exist anymore. I just thought that that was very intriguing. I don't know, well, I can only assume that it's going to hold some part in the whole Crach In Time storyline, whatever that ends up being. But yeah, the way that the soldiers, and especially, what's his name, Octavian, I think? Yeah, Octavian, the leader. Again, I guess it's kind of hard to explain, but I like the way that they were presented in this episode, and it made characters that were one-off, not really vital characters, that kind of stand out in a way. Even if I don't remember their names, they were interesting characters to see nonetheless. Now, my next favorite part about this two-parter was the countdown. And I admit, like, when Amy first said Kenn, when the Doctor told her to turn the wheel 4 times, I was kind of like, okay, that was weird. So maybe she was just mishearing or something like that. But no, then it starts going into, like, she says 9, and then I started catching on, and then the characters caught on. Talk about tension. I mean, I'm not a huge fan, particularly of how it was resolved. Like, you know, okay, just keep your eyes closed. Really? But just that whole countdown, and then, you know, we see the image of the angel in her eyes. That whole segment was just so tense and so well done. The countdown, again, had me on the edge of my seat. But despite the way it was resolved, I didn't care for it. But yeah, just the countdown itself was really well done, and some really good writing there, in my opinion. Now, the 7th and final favorite part of this episode, the Crach In Time. Now, I thought, for a second there, I honestly thought maybe that this was all of a sudden a resolution to the whole storyline having to do with the Crach In Time, but obviously it's not, because as the Doctor explains, there's still something exploding causing the cracks somewhere in time. I don't know whether that'll be explained like halfway through the season or all the way at the end of the season, but whatever happens, it's really cool to see those cracks that were just sort of like, you know, hints at the end of the last few episodes to really come to the forefront and be the center of attention, really. And the fact that it's apparently going to be an end of time kind of deal, or end of the universe kind of deal, I have to admit, I'm intrigued. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. But moving on from there, it's time to talk about some of my annoyances with this episode. And it'll be pretty quick to go through them. I will give a few little details, but you could call them nitpicks, I suppose. But anyway, let's just get right into them. My annoyances with these two episodes. Number one, the Dustin Amy's eyes after the angel gets in her mind or memories. Now, I get that, like, you know, it tricked her into thinking that her hand was stone. That was an interesting, very intriguing plot point for me, even if it was just something very temporary and easily solved. But just those moments where she's rubbing her eyes and dust is falling out. I didn't really see the point in that. I didn't see the point in having dust fall out of her eyes if, one, it's not real, but also when the angel is actually revealed, it starts doing the countdown and you can see it. It's like, why would there be dust in her eyes coming out? I don't know, it was just, it was something that really bothered me, and I guess that sort of leads into the, it combined with that, the fact that the angels can get into the person's mind just by looking in their eyes. I don't know, I guess it would make more sense if they sort of went the Medusa route, where the person would slowly start actually turning to stone unless something happened. But the whole is like, it gets put in your memories, and then it's like it can't leave unless the memories what I don't know. The whole logic behind that was really weird. One would think that just looking at the angel would then make the angel have a image in your mind, not just looking into its eyes. I don't know. I won't go on about that too long, but yeah, it was just very strange. My second annoyance with this episode, the inconsistent angel movements. Now, yes, we did get told that the decrepit angels were moving a lot slower because they had very little power, and that their forms were, you know, basically disintegrating, and those forms were the source of their power. But once they're seemingly at full power, and the scene that really stuck out to me with this was when they have the doctor surrounded, and he's looking left and right to keep an eye on them. Well, first of all, if you can blink and they can catch you, I don't think turning your head left and right is quite going to do the job. But also, when he jumps away, or he tries to jump through them, and climbs over the desk, I mean, his head's turned to them the entire time. How could they not just instantly get him? It just, I don't know. That, and then all of a sudden, like, I mean, elsewhere, it's like all of a sudden the angels are suddenly appearing, and the speed is incredible. I don't know. Sorry I keep rubbing my eye. It's late. But yeah, that was just another annoyance for me that really bothered me at several points in this episode, or these episodes. And my third annoyance with these episodes is that all of a sudden the angels murder humans, or they murder people. I thought it was, and I understand that they were drawing power from the radiation on the ship, which is fine, but still, I thought that the main thing about the angels was that they fed off of time energy. So why would they just kill someone when they could feed off the time energy of sending that person back in time or elsewhere in time? That just seemed really weird. Although admittedly it did match up with the way I originally thought angels kill people. Like, I had no idea about the sending them back in time and feeding off the time energy when I saw their episode back in the previous season. Was it the season before that? Anyway, whenever it happened. 2 seasons ago, yeah. When Martha was on the stage. Yes! But now that after I saw how it was really done, I was just like, oh, okay, that's intriguing. But then to just turn it around and all of a sudden they actually are killing people by snapping their necks. It just seemed strange. That's a golf ball, I think, bouncing down the stairs. Anyway, my fourth and final annoyance with this episode was right at the end when Amy just all of a sudden jumps the doctor. and just starts wanting to get all over him. And on one hand, I know that, you know, she's been through a lot and she's been running away from the things in her life. It's like she's not really sure she wants to marry Rory. But it just, there was no indication of this at all previously, at least not in my eyes. It was just very, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, we're back home. I'm gonna jump you and get you into bed. What? That again, if I'm missing something, let me know, but she gave no indication. I mean, she obviously, you know, kind of like, you know, thought he was cute, had fancied him in a way, but just to all of a sudden want to go nuts on the guy, it just seems strange and out of character, to be completely honest. Again, if I'm wrong, correct me on that, but that's just the way I saw it. It just seemed very out of character and out of nowhere. Now, to throw in a little new something for this episode, let's talk about my song of the episode. And it is appropriately named. I actually found the name on YouTube, but the song is The Time of Angels by Murray Gold. And the reason why I liked this song so much is because it fits so well with these two episodes. At times, it's hard to even really call it music. It is just this chilling, bone-tingling noise that just has you on edge. Like, if you're listening to it in the dark, if I was listening to it in the dark, I would probably start to see things. And that's just the kind of thing you want to hear while watching an episode like this, where literally in the darkness is lurking these creatures that are either stone or incredibly fast murdering machines, which apparently they're pretty fast even in stone form, once we saw that. But yeah, that was just, I really I really like that music. Cat in the background again. Anyway, moving on from there, my quote of the episode. And this one, I picked this one because it made me honestly just audibly laugh. For many reasons, but mostly just because it was flat out funny. It was in a conversation between Octavian and River Song. Octavian says, "You trust this man?" And River says, "I absolutely trust him." "He's not some kind of madman then?" "I absolutely trust him." And just the implications behind that, yes, the Doctor is quite a bit of a madman. But she keeps reaffirming she absolutely trusts him, despite how mad he may be, despite how crazy he might be. And just that back and forth right there was just perfect in my opinion. And for me, like I said, a good example of River Song's mindset when it comes to the Doctor and possibly about life, since the Doctor is such a big part of it. But then also just, you know, firing back at Octavian because of his, well, his role that we learn later as it pertains to River Song. Now, as for my overall thoughts about these two episodes, I really liked it. I would say that this is definitely, or these two were definitely the strongest episodes of the season so far, given I'm not very far into it so far. But yeah, these two episodes definitely set the bar quite a bit higher for the rest of this season. Now, hopefully it keeps improving, hopefully it keeps getting better, hopefully we experience, if there's going to be a lot of characters that have no reason to exist, or yeah, characters that have no real reason to exist, at least they will hopefully continue to be interesting and actually seem to serve a point to the plot. Cat loves to make noise. But yeah, I mean, what else can I say? I really liked these two episodes, and again, like the last one, these two really have me looking forward to see what happens next. But before I, you know, close things off here, I do have a bit of a question. She loves that paper bag. Okay, so in the last little conversation between the Doctor and River Song, River says that she will see him again when the Pandorica opens. And this was also mentioned in the first episode of Matt Smith's run by the Multiform or whatever it was, Prisoner Zero. What is Pandorica? I honestly hope it is explained somewhat, but who knows if it actually will be. But I am definitely interested to see what is Pandorica and what link it has to the Crach In Time. Oh, speaking of which, though, I did like seeing the little, very brief explanation as to why people don't remember a gigantic Dalek, or not Dalek, a gigantic Cyberman way back in time. You know, brief explanation of the Crach In Time, and it can help explain why Amy doesn't remember a lot of stuff, including the Daleks. And now she has the golf ball upstairs. But yeah, it's like, I mean, it was very brief and kind of a weak explanation, but it was nice that they actually made that connection and in a sense explain or answered the question that I had previously about why people wouldn't remember this gigantic thing, you know, for years and years. But moving on from there, it is time to head into the next episode. And it's actually going to be 2 episodes. For those of you that don't know, I am actually going to start doing little mini reviews of the mini-sodes as they occur. And the next one occurs in between episode 5 and episode 6, which is coming up. So look forward to that. And also, in addition to Meanwhile in the Tardis Part 2, we're going to have episode 6 of this season, which is The Vampires of Venice. And from the pictures I've seen, the vampires look pretty cool. However, in the comments I also mentioned, like, you know, well, it was nice to see some proper vampires, and then I got a lot of laughs. So apparently they're not really proper vampires, so to speak. Interested to see what they are. Yeah, just because, I mean, I won't lie, I really like supernatural elements, especially when you get a good mix of sci-fi and the supernatural, as long as it's handled well. So, yeah, I'm ready to move forward with this, and I'm ready to get into the next few episodes, including the mini-episode. So everyone, let's get this show on the road. I'm Papa Ken, and I'll see you next time. And on Z!